What happens when Chevrolet ignores all the rules and builds a machine that's part car, part truck, and 100% attitude? Today, we're unlocking the wild story behind the 1960 El Camino, the classic that broke the mold and still turns heads decades later. What's up, everyone? Subscribe to my channel because today we're diving into a machine that isn't just a classic, it's a rolling contradiction, a slice of American imagination, and one of the most fascinating automotive experiments ever put on four wheels, the 1960 Chevrolet El Camino. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll never look at this car-truck crossover the same way again. Picture this, it's 1960. The United States is booming, the highways are stretching across the country like fresh veins of opportunity, and the culture is shifting fast. People want style, they want power, and they want practicality, but they're also drawn to anything that stands out. Chevrolet saw that trend, and instead of playing it safe, they shot their shot with something bold, something risky, something nobody expected. That's how the El Camino is born. It was Chevrolet saying, why choose between a car and a truck when you can have both? The 1960 El Camino came hot on the heels of the radically styled 59 model. Those giant battling fins, gone. In their place, Chevy delivered a cleaner, sleeker, more mature look for 1960, but don't let that fool you, the El Camino still had an attitude. It kept the wide stance, the dramatic rear end, and the unmistakable "I'm different, deal with it" presence that made people stop and stare at stoplights. Even today, if you see a 1960 El Camino rolling down the street, your head snaps automatically. It demands attention. It earns it. Under the skin, the 1960 El Camino carried the heart of a full-size Chevrolet. You could get it with an inline six, which was fine for cruising, but if you really understood what the El Camino was all about, you went straight for the 283 V8. That engine wasn't just a power plant, it was a statement. It had the kind of rumble that made the steering wheel vibrate just slightly at idle. The kind of sound that told anyone standing on the sidewalk, this ride works for a living, but it plays even harder. But what made the 1960 El Camino so special wasn't just the engine or the styling, it was the personality. This thing was a rebel in sheet metal. It came at a time when Chevrolet was still figuring out the identity of the car-truck hybrid. Was it supposed to be a work vehicle, a stylish cruiser, a family hauler, a performance car? The 1960 El Camino didn't bother answering that. Instead, it said, why can't I be all of them? Let's talk about practicality for a second because yes, it had that too. The cargo bed wasn't massive, but it was big enough to haul tools, luggage, supplies, or whatever you needed for the weekend. But the magic is that you got that utility without sacrificing the comfort of a car. You could drive an El Camino all day long and never feel like you were bouncing around in a traditional pickup. It was smooth, confident, and flexible. It was like Chevy took the idea of convenience and wrapped it in chrome. And then we get to the culture impact. The 1960 El Camino arrived at a time when the lines between personal and professional life were blurring. People didn't just want to work, they wanted to express themselves. This was the perfect vehicle for someone who wanted practicality without giving up flair. If you were a young builder, a rancher with taste, a small business owner who wanted to pull up somewhere and make a statement, the El Camino had you covered. The 1960 model also marked the end of the first generation. Production would pause after this year, meaning that today, the 60 El Camino is one of the rarest and most collectible versions out there. It's a one-year-only face, a snapshot of an era when automakers were fearless, experimenting, pushing limits, and gambling big. And honestly, that's what makes it priceless. When you see one restored today, every curve and crease tells the story of a company that wasn't afraid to reinvent the rules. Let's talk about that design for a moment, because this is where Chevy nailed it. The dual headlamps, the wraparound windshield, the flowing body lines, everything about the 1960 El Camino feels intentional, artistic, and way ahead of its time. The chrome accents weren't overdone, the fins were refined, and the entire silhouette looks like it's in motion, even when it's parked. This wasn't just a car you drove, it was a car you presented. Inside, the cabin was pure early 60s Chevrolet charm. Big steering wheel, metal dash, horizontal speedometer, bench seat, you know the vibe. Simple, functional, and stylish. It wasn't luxury, but it had character. The kind of character that today's digital screens and electronic displays can't replicate. In a world where everything now is controlled by software, sitting in an El Camino feels like traveling back to a time when driving was real, when you felt every shift, every vibration, every breath of the machine. And here's the thing. People didn't just buy a 1960 El Camino. They committed to it. They chose a lifestyle that wasn't mainstream. They chose a vehicle that made people ask questions. They chose something unique. And that is exactly why this car has such a cult following today. It's not just nostalgic, it's meaningful. It's a symbol of individuality. So if you're watching this video thinking, what's the big deal? It's just an old car truck. Let me tell you, you're missing the point. The big deal is that the 1960 Chevrolet El Camino represents a moment in automotive history when creativity beat conformity, when design took risks, when cars had soul. This isn't just a vehicle, it's a philosophy on wheels. And if you're someone who loves classics, who appreciates craftsmanship, who respects the machines that paved the way for everything we drive now, then the 1960 El Camino is a legend worth knowing. A legend worth celebrating. So before you click away, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this video with anyone who loves old school icons, because the more we talk about cars like this, the more we keep their spirit alive. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned because I've got more rare classics, more deep dives, and more automotive storytelling coming your way. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.